get fucked. Kieran's here with a grin, a stubby, and zero fear. Life's too short for worry and stress. He's here for the laughs, not to impress. Oh, get fucked, all of ya. That's his hello. Doesn't mean it deep, just part of the show. Fucking hate that guy. Doesn't matter who, he just says it loud like he always do. Here for the music, the drinks, the ride. Not for your trauma, bread or star sign try. No drama, no guilt, just pure release. Kieran's just here for beers and beats. Someone types, okay, boomer. Oh, it's begun. He replies, I was cooler than your dad, son. Get fucked, all of ya. And he means it kind, in a weird sort of Kieran peace of mind. He don't rage, he just winds them tight, drops a bomb, then logs off for the night. Fucking hate that guy, doesn't matter who, he just says it loud like he always do. Here for the music, the drinks, the ride. Not for your trauma, thread or star sign try. Look, I'm not trying to hurt feelings or nothing. I just think everyone's a bit soft these days. Especially that guy. You know the one. Fucking hate that guy. Get fucked, all of ya. And he means it kind, in a weird sort of Kieran peace of mind. He don't rage, he just wins them tight, drops a bomb, then logs off for the night. Fucking hate that guy, doesn't matter who, he just says it loud like he always do. Here for the music, the drink, the ride. Not for your trauma, thread or star sign try. Fucking hate that guy, doesn't matter who, he just says it loud like he always do. Here for the music, the drink, the ride. Not for your trauma, thread or star sign try.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Whoo! Okay, over here in the wonderful land of Oz, it is 6:21 p.m. on a Sunday night. Had nothing better to do. Thought, why not? Why not do a little stream? Try to find some random thing to watch, and I thought Christopher Hitchens. Okay, back in the day, about probably 20 years ago, I was a big Christopher Hitchens fanboy. I was, not going to lie. Forgive me. God forgive me. Okay, for being a fanboy of Christopher Hitchens. He's a very good orator. He's a very good speaker. And I have adopted a couple of little traits that he, displays in my own debates on Swords of Reason. But it's so funny. Like, he sounds so smart, but today, 20 years later, his arguments seem a little naive. So what we're going to do, we're going to play. This is when Christopher Hitchens visited Australia. Like, this is like years ago. Let's play it and see what happens. Oh, hang on. Got to share screen. And it is.
Good evening and welcome to Q&A. Well, many people spend their lives considering big questions about the meaning of life and the existence of God. Well, tonight we've got less than an hour, but we do have a very good panel. One of Australia's leading Catholic intellectuals, Father.
So just so you know, this is Q&A. It's the it's on the ABC here in Australia, the Australian Broadcasting Commission or whatever. They're government funded, like $1 billion a year. They're supposed to be non-biased. They have become woke as fuck over the years. This was before they became quite so woke.
Frank Brennan, renowned journalist and atheist, Christopher Hitchens, who's in Australia to deliver the opening address at the Festival of Dangerous Ideas. Social commentator and founding editor of The Monthly, Sally Warhaft. And politics lecturer and former spokesman for the Islamic...
This guy is a flog. Okay. My American friends, if you don't know what a flog is, look it up. He's a flog.
Islamic Council of Victoria, Waleed Ali, and Deputy Director of the Sydney Institute, biographer and commentator, Anne Henderson. Please welcome our panel. Okay. Now, remember that Q&A is live from 9:30 Eastern Time, so join the Twitter conversation and send your questions by SMS to 1975522 or to our website, abc.net.au/Q&A. Well, as we go to air tonight, there are reports that thousands may have died in the earthquakes and tsunamis that ravaged our region in the last few days. Well, these sorts of tragedies inevitably raise questions like our very first one, which comes from Edjart Menace.
Yes, thank you very much. I'd like to speak to Mr. Hitchens. Thank you very much. I've noticed that you're wearing the Kurdistan flag again on your left.
Sorry, is he speaking fucking English? I'm trying. Is he speaking English?
And
we might come to that later, Edjart.
the Kurdish also, really thank you very much for that, for your solidarity to the Kurdish people. My question is that thousands of people dying from earthquakes, to the panel question, thousands of people dying from earthquakes can't be called God's punishment. Why is it that a person being saved from under the rubble days later is almost invariably called a miracle? And also, why should God be credited for good act of a human being saving a fellow human being from under the rubble, while God being spared for the calamity that was brought upon the people?
Yes. Look,
He's making a fair point. So, like, imagine there's a fucking explosion in a mine, in a coal mine, and 20 people die. Okay. And they recover one guy. And they say it's a miracle from God that one guy survived. He's asking, what about the other 20 people? Can we give God the credit for the miracle and not blame him for the tragedy? It's a fair question.
I promise you I did not have anything to do with planting this guy in the audience and giving me such a brilliant opening. He even recognizes that I'm wearing in my lapel the flag of Free Iraq. The Kurdish people like it. Perhaps you're a Kurd yourself, I don't know, but if not, even better. In England, there are, I think, only 3 villages that don't have a war memorial from the First World War. One of them is called Upper Slaughter, by the way. It's in the Cotswolds. I think there are only 3 or 4 that don't. When I was a kid, I used to notice it, and of course, anyone who's been to an Anzac Day event will feel the same way. This unbelievable horror show. And culling of the young. Do you know what those villages are called by the Imperial War Graves Commission? They're called the Blessed Villages. what's blessed about being the only village in a war which was fought for God, king, and country, which didn't have any casualties? And what does it make all the villages that did lose dozens or sometimes more than that of young men, frequently every male member of the family? Are they cursed because they did what the church and the king asked them to do? It's probably the stupidest thing the human race does, is to look for patterns in this way and say, when a baby falls out of a high-rise building and bounces on the grass below, that must be God. And when millions of children die every day for the lack of pure drinking water and just die of diarrhea in a banal manner, that's because God moves in a mysterious way or isn't involved at all. So I think we're off to a racing start, ladies and gentlemen. On the key question, anyway.
Frank Brennan, let's hear from you. Do you have any thoughts on the role of an omnipotent God in natural disasters?
Natural disasters happen, and an omnipotent God lets them happen.
Okay, he's going to struggle. One of my university professors was a Catholic priest, and I liked him. And he said the hard question for Catholics is, what about natural evil? Right. So say like a tsunami that wipes out 250,000 people in Southeast Asia. That's how do you square that with a benevolent God? Right. Let's see what he just noticed. He also looks Catholic. I'm not going to lie. He looks fucking Catholic. Just saying.
For those of us who believe in God, it's not about God saying that we won't let nature take its course. Those of us who do have a religious faith, we equally, I think, are committed to science. But like Christopher says, we all look for patterns. We look for patterns in our daily lives. We look for patterns in our histories. We look for patterns in the world. And yes, some villages might be called blessed. Well, if they didn't lose anyone, they wouldn't call themselves cursed. And so how do they see
Only the
themselves?
people who call them blessed could do that, because it's the natural corollary. Several leaders of the Christian church, as you know, said about the last tsunami that it was a punishment. In Britain, several of them said it was a punishment for homosexuality.
Yeah, that's stupid. Okay, so some fucking retarded Protestant preachers said, the cyclones, they said Cyclone Katrina in New Orleans was reparations for homosexuality. Bad argument. Because no one believes that.
That it used to be said that earthquakes were a punishment for sodomy. Since we're doing sodomy in the Lash, I thought I might as well bring this up. Oddly enough, the San Francisco earthquake only hit when San Francisco was famous for other things. When New Orleans got flooded, the only bits that didn't get flooded were the red light district. Okay? So anyone who says they know God's mind in this had better not mind looking a bit foolish. Or, which obviously don't, or had better say, take responsibility and say, yes, by letting it happen, God must in some way wish it to.
Let me bring Waleed.
Why would you do that?
Let me bring Waleed Ali into the discussion here. Do you have any thoughts
Fuck
on
this guy.
And does Islam have a concept of a God that allows disasters to happen?
Well, I think by definition, if you believe in God, you would have to say that at the very least God allows this thing to happen, because to say otherwise would be to presuppose that God lacks the power to stop it, which I don't know of any religious tradition, certainly no monotheistic religious tradition that would say that. I do want to say something that I definitely agree with in what Christopher said, and that is that this sort of very simple dichotomized thinking about natural disasters, that they are punishment or reward, and this is the prism through which we view them. I mean, this has to be some of the most rudimentary, unsophisticated thinking that religious people and, frankly, irreligious people who perpetuate it even via criticism have ever produced. I think it's a ridiculous assertion. And I've not really encountered a serious religious thinker, as opposed to one who is too busy playing forms of identity politics or some other kind of rabble-rousing, persecuting some rabble-rousing religiosity, who would argue that. The simple fact is that things happen in life that are, in our subjective experiences, grotesque, and other things that are wonderful. And our judgments immediately.
Okay. Is this guy saying anything? Is he literally saying anything? Oh my God. I'm hearing a whole bunch of words, but I'm not really hearing a thing. I'm not hearing a fucking idea. Just saying, like, is he going to say anything at all?
About whether they're grotesque and wonderful, in a sense, beside the point. The question, I think, for religious people who are actually serious about being religious people and with all the introspection that that implies, is what do you do about it and what do you do with it? It's possible that by surviving the earthquake and moving on to behave in all sorts of ways that you cast yourself into some kind of eternal destruction in religious terms. That's entirely possible, in which case you probably would have been better off to have been killed in the earthquake. It's entirely possible.
What? He said you would have been entirely better off being killed in the earthquake? Did he say that? Did he say that? I think he did, right? And they're all just fucking pretending he didn't say it, okay? Same thing as saying it's better off to be dead than being born into poverty, okay? That's the abortion argument. Oh, my God, I fucking hate this guy.
That by
fucking
gathering all
hate this
sorts of
guy.
riches in life and having an easy life, that you are similarly just deforming your character as a person. So I think the key question is not so much what is God doing, although that's a perfectly legitimate question, field of inquiry. But I think the more important question for people, particularly religious people, is who am I in response to this? What am I doing? Each of these is a test, whether you're on the good side or the bad side of it, and what do you do with it? And I'm more interested in that, frankly.
Let's hear from Anne Henderson.
Well,
Why the fuck are they clapping? He said nothing.
well, where I come from, I can't take too much of the God is a person or a thing or a human creation. I mean, the idea of religion is a human creation, and I grew up a Catholic, and we had heaps of that little pictures of what God was. But God is meaning beyond meaning, and the reason so many human beings have kept on believing in a God is because so much of ordinary material existence here doesn't explain things enough. And whether God had anything to do with natural disasters, I'm really not very interested. It's a question of when people can't understand something, they give.
So when she says, I'm not very interested, what she means is I can't explain it. That's it. Thanks for nothing, love. Thanks for nothing.
A force, a place in their understanding, which is usually something spiritual or beyond the material. And to me, what God is not so important, but what God, that idea of God, leads people to do. When the New Orleans tragedy happened, one of the most heroic acts was the way the Salvation Army was there on the spot the minute it happened. I spent 3.5 years going to Villawood Detention Centre and got very much involved, as Frank did, with the so-called illegal people that came to Australia without visas and trying to get them visas. When I went to the Yard, which was a very unpleasant place to be in every week, it wasn't the Fabian Society or the Pacifist Society that was there helping people, but invariably.
Okay, so I don't mean to like shame people, but that necklace, okay. Look, I'm into shortcuts. You can talk, you can tell me all this fucking shit, you can tell me all the things you think, but that necklace tells me something. It does tell me something.
It was
What does it
old
tell
and
me?
young.
It tells me that she's a big fat feminist. Okay, that's a feminist necklace. Tell me I'm
People
wrong.
who had some connection with the Anglican Church. We sat down, people who believed in Islam.
You see the necklace. What the fuck? Who wears that? Who wears that? Except some fucking retarded feminist. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. There's no based woman. There's no based Christian woman wearing that necklace. It's, you see how it goes? It's so easy. Like shooting fish in a barrel.
People who believed in Christ, people who believed in anything you could think of, and we were all kind of in the same boat together. But it was interesting how it was those that had some faith who had the time too, no doubt, who were there helping. And to me, it's
Was this a private institution?
Waleed, private what institution?
Hang on. When she said that those who had faith and the time, no doubt, what the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? That's a little sneaky fucking thing she did there.
The one you were visiting was the
I was visiting a detention centre run by the government. People who came to us, or still, it was a policy brought in by the Labor government and continued under the Liberal government and continues to this day. Now we take people to Christmas Island.
And I'm going to interrupt you, and for a moment, and sorry, interrupt everyone just for a moment, because we actually have a question that's coming up that actually leads us in similar directions. But you're watching a special politician-free edition of Q&A, answering the big philosophical questions. Clock is ticking. Let's move to our very next question. It comes from Joel Brown.
My question is to Mr. Hitchens again. How do you account for the good work, specifically regarding the title of your book, Religion Poisoning Everything, the good work done by religious aid organisations overseas in third world and developing countries, as well as locally on our own shores and I'm sure in your country with the homeless and the needy?
Actually, Christopher, can I interrupt? Before you answer that, think about your answer for a moment, because we haven't heard from Sally Warhaft. I'd like to bring her in and then go to you.
I think this gets into the whole question of the whole argument.
Look, am I misogynist when old mate says bring up this woman to have an opinion, and she sits back and goes, well, I just think I don't give a fuck what you think. That's not going to lie. When the men talk, Christopher Hitchens and Tony Jones, when they talk, I go, oh, okay, I'm listening. When I see this, just as a woman, I just go, I don't give a fuck. Does that make me misogynist? Help me out.
Argument about whether or not God is great or not great, and Christopher's argument, obviously, in his book, to me, what's missing, and I think what Waleed touched on, is that lived experience of people is much more varied and great and personal than the kind of things that you can pick out to make a case against God.
Oh, it's great and it's personal. It's great and it's personal, and you can pick out a case. Shut the fuck up. No, David. Yes, I'm cynical, but I think I'm correct. Come on, David. Be serious. Are you listening to anything she's saying?
Or that God is somehow missing from a great disaster or tragedy, but he's there in a miracle. And I just think that he's the lived experience of people who are religious is it's part of what it is to be human. It seems to be for a great many people across time, and I don't think it's something that's going to go away.
Christopher,
this is why towards the tail of the last question, I asked the lady from the Sydney Institute whether these institutions you're talking about.
I'm Anne.
Well, I don't know you well enough yet.
I'll just introduce myself.
Perhaps we'll be more bonded by the
Some
end
would
of
say not much of a lady.
We'll be more intimate by the end
none
of
of us would say that.
Well, I know people who would.
It's just not the way I was brought up. Perhaps by the end of the show, we'll be more intimate.
Christopher has a certain kind of charisma. Not going to lie. He does. Okay. He's a bit older here, so he's not as handsome as he used to be, but he does have a little bit of that fucking X factor. You tell me I'm wrong, okay?
I asked her about, because she wasn't content just to say religious people volunteer for charity as if that was news to anybody, but she had to couple it with a smear against Fabianism and social democracy. Now, as a matter of fact,
well, they weren't there, Christopher. That's all I was saying.
I'm so sorry to say
I
that without
the
efforts of Fabianism,
but you're good at smears.
The efforts of Fabianism.
What's wrong with the smear?
I don't. I'll get to the end of this sentence if it kills you. I
like it.
The efforts of socialists and social democrats to make sure that things like education and health do not depend upon private charity given by rich people and religious institutions to the deserving poor are the reasons why a lot of it's taken care of, because it's taken care of.
Hang on,
Because
I wasn't
we have
rich.
welfare
But
and...
just a minute, there's another smear. I wasn't a rich person giving charity where it wasn't gone. And you have to understand
I didn't
the
say
problem.
that you were.
Well, it seemed to come across
I didn't
that
even
way.
imply that you were. No, the efforts of Fabianism and social democracy, socialism, were to make sure that these things didn't depend on the voluntary whim
Yeah, but they don't do
and
that
did
now.
all the idea of the deserving poor. Now, that's the first
I know
point. The
about
second
Fabianism.
point, well, because it's so taken for granted now, I love to remind people, actually, this
was a long time
this
ago.
meant social political action, as
Hang
you
on for 1
correctly
second.
say, as you quite correctly say, and I can help you out here by emphasizing it, quite a while ago. That's why I said not to forget it. Now, to the point about religious activism, isn't it true, haven't you all heard, that Hamas does so well because it supplies social services? Are you going to say that it's the same is true for Hamas and Islamic Jihad? Never mind that they're religious, they distribute services where otherwise there'd only be secularism and corruption. Well, if you want to claim that, you can't just claim the charitable part of it, it seems to me. Mother Teresa, endlessly praised for work that most of the time she actually never did. I went to watch her very closely in Calcutta. You don't mind that she thinks that what Bengal and Calcutta mainly needs is a campaign, a clerical campaign against birth control and family planning. Has anyone here ever been to Bengal and concluded that's what it really needs? That's what she was really campaigning for, in case you're worried. But never mind. She gives a wonderful impression of being a charitable person. So what Indians need is more missionaries to cure poverty, when everybody knows there's only one cure for poverty, which is the empowerment of women, which means giving them some control over their own.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
You name me.
Oh, damn, Charles. I said so many smart things. Like I did 15 seconds of smart things. And you all missed it. You all missed it. Christopher Hitchens gets the solution to the world's problems is the empowerment of women. He'll say, because when you empower women, you raise the GPD. It's a stupid fucking stupid and wrong. Achilles, fuck you. Oh, can you hear my dogs? Can you hear my dogs fighting? It's fucking based. Hitchens had a little fucking, like all these guys, all these guys who are, they're so fucking smart. They're going to change the fucking world. And they all say, just make women happy. Okay? It's not even fucking lying. Make women happy. And I'll tell you one thing. If you set yourself on a path to make women happy, no one's happy. Not gonna lie. Fucking oh damn you fucking all right, Charles. Okay, kids, don't go away. We're gonna throw one out for Charles. If I can find it. Oh, I can't quite find it. Ah, there we go. This one's for you, Charles. You fucking retard.
Yeah. People have you swiping all night. Charles Darwin's running a different experiment. Yeah, Charles Darwin rolling up late. Bus pass ready at the city gate. No sports car, no fancy ride. Just public transit and a confidence stride. Single guy with a master plan. better odds than the average man. While everyone's swiping till their thumbs get sore, Darwin's knocking on a different door. No dating apps, no endless scrolling, no upper bios, people are trolling. He says, boys, let me break this down. There's a smarter way to get around. Darwin's got a sister strategy, pure romantic science actually. Why chase strangers?
Romantic science.
And your friends got sisters conveniently. Skip the apps and skip the lies. No filter ticks, no weird surprises. Social circles, chemistry. That's Darwin's sister strategy. That's Darwin's sister strategy. Yeah, sister strategy. Favorite food, whatever's hot.
I agree.
Didn't cook it, he likes it a lot. The pizza boxes stacked real tall. Takeout king, he loves it all. Friends say, bro, you need an app. Darwin laughs and tips his cap. Why compete with 10,000 dudes when my buddy sister already knows the crew? No algorithms telling lies, no bots behind those profile eyes. He's got the stats and the confidence too. Evolution set the methods true. Darwin's got a sister strategy. Field tested repeatedly. No swipe, no digital tragedy. Just old school probability. One good intro beats 1,000 chats. That's the math and that's the stats. Social science victory. Darwin's sister strategy.
Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay. Yeah, probably should. Who said that? David. Mate Charles, my producer. Well, the thing is, okay, while he's a mod, don't have to pay him. If I make him a producer, I've probably got to pay him, and then I've got to fucking make money. Yeah, so it's complicated. It's complicated.
A Catholic or Muslim charity that goes into the fields determined to secure the empowerment.
Okay,
of
well,
women.
let's
and you'll
see-
have the ghost of a point.
Let's see if Frank
Up
Brennan.
Until now, you don't.
Let's see if Frank Brennan can address that point.
Let's take it. I mean, people like Amartya Sen have argued very strongly and persuasively, like yourself, Christopher, that empowerment of women is the key to the development of peoples. Now, why don't we just drop the bagging and smearing and saying, all right, anyone who's out there, let's judge them by their fruits, whether they're atheists or whether they're Catholics or whatever. Let's drop the bagging and smearing. Let's say, right, we agree. What we've got to be working for is the empowerment of women. And there are people of religious dispositions who
Gay. Fuck me, gay.
are passionately committed to that. And yes, there will be mistakes made in terms of policies and in terms of moral theories, but that's where I think in a pluralist society like Australia, we can have the respectful dialogue and we can work those things through as we do this evening.
Wally Daly.
Just trying to figure out which aspect to take. I think
I guess that the argument being made in that question is religion doesn't poison everything because there are people who do good works.
I think there's a real call that needs to be made for some honesty here on the part of religious people. And that is that, yes, lots of religious people do lots of very good things. And there was research published, I think, 2 years ago looking at Generation Y Australians that found that those who were more religiously committed were more socially aware, they were more committed to the social good and all that sort of thing. And you can point to those studies and you can say that's wonderful. But in a sense, I think you get caught in a reactionary argument, which is with all these people lining up saying, look how horrible religion is, you get a religious response that says, no, we're good, look at these charities, turning a blind eye to not only some of the points that Christopher raises, but also the fact that there are religious charities that do a lot of that religious work for their own ends that, in my judgment, are actually quite nefarious at times. Religions can be used as a cover and a pretext for violence and evil and all sorts of things. It can be instrumentalized in that way. It can also be instrumentalized in the opposite way. And so I kind of echo what Father Frank Brennan's said here, and that is that if you actually look to the substance of what people are doing, rather than asking the first question, is this a religious organisation or is this not, and then trying to make some judgment about their conduct and their motives on the basis of that, then I think you get further down the track of making some kind of assessment. I think we get caught in these petty...
Fuck my life. This guy's been talking for 5 fucking minutes and said nothing. What a fucking flog. What a flog. He's saying Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, you pretentious fucking retard. Well, okay, keep talking, whatever.
Games
You
about
pretentious
well,
retard.
are religious people good or bad? Just get on with being good or being bad and let people make up their
By the
own
way,
mind.
that's excellent. I think that's
And they clap. They clap for the flog. Holy crap.
I really think that's brilliantly phrased, but there is one more thing we have to say, just to do with a logical inference. If Catholic charities were better than I say they were, or Muslim ones, it still wouldn't have anything to do with the truth or otherwise of their preachments, any more than a group like Médecins Sans Frontières, for example, which would be my favorite medical charity, or Amnesty International, which is completely secular, proves that there is no God. I mean, it's purely coincidental.
That's an entirely separate argument. But if the
Yeah, but
question is...
it's part of the premise that needs to be.
No, but if the
stated.
question is
Okay,
about...
and I'm going to interrupt you all because there's a questioner, and Christopher Hitchens obviously has got a lot of attention from our audience, and here's a question directly at him.
Oh, dear.
It's from Jessica Langrel.
Just another one to Mr. Hitchens. You typically stereotype religious people as dogmatic and fundamentalists.
No, I don't.
How is this when people who listen to you feel as if you're the one being dogmatic and fundamentalist in your evangelical pursuit to convert the world to atheism?
Well, I have to. I would have expected more applause for a cheap point like that. That's more like. Now, that's more like what I call applause. I will have to, Tony, put myself in the safekeeping of your audience tonight, here, physically, and those who are watching, and ask them if they really think that's what I do or what I'm like. And that the reason the questions come to me, all of them so far, is not just because of my sexual charisma. But if it was that all this, this description of me as dogmatic and my only description of others as being dogmatic was true, then I wouldn't be able to correct it in the time of this show.
Christopher, just getting to the point of why religion still resonates. Here's a quote from your book for you to reflect on. Religion is the sigh of the oppressed creature, the heart of a heartless world. It is the spirit of a spiritless situation.
This is the opiate of the people, quotation goes on. And it goes on even more beautifully to say that, no, it's not from me. It's not from me. It goes on to say that criticism of religion has plucked the flowers from the chain, not so that men and women may wear the chain without consolation, but so that they may break the chain and cull the living flower. It's from Karl Marx. It's the opening of his critique of Hegel's philosophy of right. It's the most misrepresented quotation probably of the 19th century. It's the one where he doesn't say religion is the opium of the people.
But he does.
It's the one that shows that atheists are not dogmatists.
But he does understand, essentially, in making that point, why religion still resonates today.
He understands why religion is ineradicable, why it's part of the human makeup and personality, and why it's the most interesting argument that we have, because it was our first attempt at philosophy, just as it was our first attempt at healthcare, cosmology, astronomy, and so on. It's
Okay, he's doing the first and worst argument. He's saying religion was our first attempt at cosmology, astronomy. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Religion was our first attempt to give meaning to existence. Okay, shut up, Chris. Shut up, Chris.
the argument that never goes stale.
But I think one of the strengths of your book is that you do concede that religion is ineradicable. So given that reality, I mean, I come back to the point, why not drop the bagging and smearing, and let's say the solvent is respectful public discourse.
But
we judge things by their fruits, and if there be arguments which are put which are misconceived, then...
If we judge things by their fruits, I think most Western Christian societies bear the best fruit, okay? I like him. I like him.
We talk that out.
Okay, hang
Well,
on.
Father, you're the soul of charity, but I mean, who's been bagging and smearing? And you've said that twice now. As if you're sitting there, our only protection against a wave of smearing and bashing. I thought that if, as long as we have a civil conversation, we don't have to keep on saying that that's what we're doing.
Okay, in this civil conversation, we have an audience. We've got a gentleman up there with his hand up, and I'm going to come to you.
This question's for Chris and for Waleed. Frank and Waleed. You said that we live in a pluralistic society, where a duality society. What is your views on gay marriage, and why is it there seems to be such opposition from the Christian and Muslim societies against it?
Okay, we'll take a quick answer from Frank and Waleed on that.
I've just finished a national human rights inquiry. We've heard about this constantly around the country. I would approach the issue of gay marriage distinguishing two things. One, people of a religious disposition may have a view about what they call the sacramentality of marriage. I would see that as a separate question from the civil institution of marriage. Now, in terms of the civil institution of marriage, I think one of the welcome developments in Australia is we've got to the stage of saying that discrimination against people on the grounds of their sexuality should be wiped out completely, and that we're a better society for that being the case. In terms of the next step, whether or not in civil law there should be a recognition of the bond between two men or two women as being the same as marriage as it's presently understood, the real issue, I think, is whether or not that decision is best made by our elected politicians or whether it's made by unelected judges. And I think at the moment in Australia, the view has been that that should be a decision of our elected politicians. My own view is, moving around the country, I think that younger Australians, they don't see it as a problem. It's not an issue. I think for a lot of older Australians, it's still an issue. And guess what? A lot of them happen to be married. So in terms of a free and democratic society, for those who are civilly married, then we've got to bring them with us as we look at any change on that issue.
All right, before I go to anyone else on that, you're watching Q&A. We actually have a video question that's going to, I think, continue this discussion. We're watching Q&A. Remember, you can send your web or video questions to our website. The address is on the screen, like this video from Joseph Bromley of Malmesbury, Victoria.
Hello, comrades. Can we ever hope to live in a truly secular society when the religious maintain their ability to affect political discourse and decision-making on issues such as voluntary euthanasia, same-sex unions, abortion, and discrimination in employment?
Christopher, this won't mean anything to you, but I was a bit distracted by that because he looks enormously like a young Malcolm Turnbull. I'll just repeat his question.
I was thinking Sid Barrett, actually.
Can we ever hope to live in a truly secular society when the religions maintain their ability to affect political discourse and decision-making on issues like voluntary euthanasia, same-sex marriage, abortion, and discrimination in employment? Waleed Ali.
I frankly don't understand the question. Well, I do literally understand the question, but there are assumptions embedded within it that I think need to be examined. I actually think a secular society implies the ability of religious arguments to enter the discourse. The idea of secularism, the reason for it coming into existence, was to open the public discourse to a range of views, religious, irreligious, and otherwise. It's about the separation of church and state. That is, it's about removing the levers of government, the levers of power, from a religious institution like the church. That's a different thing from saying that arguments that have their grounding in some kind of religious commitment cannot be aired. That, to me, is actually an anti-secular position, because what it's doing is it's saying, here are the approved modes of discourse, here are the approved arguments. The idea of a secular society is to say, if you want to come from a socialist perspective, if you want to come from a Christian perspective, an Islamic perspective, a Hindu perspective, or some other perspective that as yet has not been conceived, fine. And we'll sort that out in the political process. I think to say on euthanasia, religious people are not allowed to comment as religious people is ridiculous and anti-secular and anti-liberal.
Okay, Sally Warhart.
I agree with everything Waleed said. If what the question was meant to ask was, as meaning a society without religion, then I'd say you want to be careful what you wish for. And
Perhaps he's talking about a society without politicians who are expressly religious.
Well, then maybe we should all be praying very hard for that. I'm not sure, but you imagine,
or voting very hard for it.
That's right. I mean, what Waleed said is absolutely true. Secularism means everybody can get involved, and it's a great thing about it.
If you want to see multiculturalism in action. Look at the world, right? Right? The world is multicultural. All right? And there's wars fucking everywhere. So why not take all the cultures, put them into one little fucking state? It's going to be beautiful. There'll be no fucking wars. There'll be no hatred. There'll be no nothing. We're all going to get along. Holy crap. Charles, because we're Australian, that's why. Shut the fuck up.
Country like this, but you imagine back in time. I don't want to imagine a world that never had Mozart or Bach in it. You have to be careful what you ask.
You're not religious, though. Why do you value religion?
Because I think that I'm interested in what drives human beings, in what makes human beings human, and I think there is obviously, whether you're religious or not, there is something in human beings that passions and faith override reason in just about everything we do. From we get up in the morning and we choose what to wear, or there's a lot that's going on in human behaviour that is not that well thought out. And in fact, a lot of our reason is in an analysis. It's after the fact. And I think that
None the worse for that, though.
well, you need both.
Though it's true there aren't many secular Gothic cathedrals, for example.
But
Verdi could write a beautiful.
What do you call the Kremlin?
No, it's Verdi could write a very, very good requiem without actually being a believer. But I don't think that John Donne could have written his sacred poetry not thinking, I don't really believe any of this. I mean, it's quite clear that there's an instinct in all of us for the numinous and the transcendent, you might say. I think you can have it without the supernatural. In fact, I think you have to. Well, again, I couldn't agree more with, if I may call you one in.
Well,
That's what secular means. But in that case, I think it behooves the religious to say what they genuinely mean. Now, Frank just talked about homosexuality as if the church had never condemned it as a mortal sin.
Yes.
I mean, it's extraordinary. I would not know that you were a member of the Society of Jesus, except that it was a very Jesuitical point you were making. and concealed your main one. And I'm sorry, well, it is the same. Islam says the same. You cannot be a good Muslim and publicly be a homosexual. Why don't you, given the wonderful freedom of a secular conversation where no one's going to say anything about your right to say it, why don't you say what you actually think? How about that?
Okay, yes, Anne, and then I'd like to hear from Frank.
Can I just say that what I find interesting about your book, Christopher, is that everyone's the same and yet we're all violently different. And if you are a cultural Catholic as I am, I don't listen to what the Pope says every day and take my guide from him. My mother, who's 84, says she had a Vatican bypass 30 years ago. It isn't like you see. Maybe because you're not a believer, you don't understand that.
Sounds like progress of a kind.
No, but she converted from a completely non-believer.
Or one packets. We have 6 watching, sitting on 180 subscribers, going for the fucking 200, going for the 200 subscribers. No reason, like it don't mean anything. Just like my personal preference would be, I prefer to have 200. Also, no likes. What's wrong with you people? You see these freeloaders watching, and not liking, not subscribing. It's a bit rude. I'm not going to lie. It's a bit rude.
Leaving family when she was about 20. But the thing is that religion is so manifestly pluralist as well. I mean, there's so many different ways in which people see God. And even within the Catholic Church, there's violently different ways in which people practice their faith.
You say
and
violently?
The idea... I missed that.
You did say violently.
Well,
I know you
well, I
didn't
agree
mean
with you. I agree with you on all that you say about violence among religion. And that's the point. I like the old Greeks and the Romans. You had a god of war and a god of peace, and you had different kind of gods. I like that. But the idea that we're all following the Pope, I think, is a bit misguided.
Okay,
You're either a Roman Catholic or not. You can be tons of kinds of
Oh,
Catholic.
you'd be surprised.
There are
Christopher.
several. There are 5 popes I know about. There's a Coptic pope. There's an Eastern pope.
No, all right. Well, I'm talking about the one in
not
Rome.
accepting the
but,
authority of the Holy Father. I leave it to this father. But I mean, I think that's not
I think since about
people who take their
1969,
faith a la
it hasn't
carte and cafeteria style don't impress me very much on the points of principle and conviction
Look,
that we're
if
supposed to be
Catholics
talking
were
about.
following the Pope, they'd all have 10 children. They don't.
Well, that's
Frank
a, that's a,
Brennan,
that's
can
a,
I-
that's
can
a
I-
start too.
Can I hear from Brennan on the
Progress of a kind.
the fundamental point that Christopher Hitchens made, which is how can you say something which is clearly against the teachings of your church, clearly against the teachings of the Pope?
I haven't said anything clearly against teaching my church or against my Pope. I have drawn a distinction.
So, but hang on a sec.
Haven't said what the teaching was.
Is homosexuality a sin or otherwise? And if it is a sin, is it the sort of sin that would see you go to hell according to Roman Catholicism?
No, homosexuality is not a sin. It's a disposition. If you want to argue about whether particular homosexual acts are appropriate for an individual in a moral context, that would require.
So do you think he's gay? Just wondering. Is he coping? Is he coping? Just wondering.
Pastoral discussion with that individual. What we were discussing previously was what should be the law in a civil society such as Australia, where you have people of different religious convictions. And the question was whether or not there should be same-sex marriage. Now, that is not an issue which is resolved by determining what the Catholic Church says to its own members it regards as moral or immoral. They're quite distinct questions.
Walid Ali, you're on the same question, if you like. Is homosexuality a sin in Islam?
Okay, so is he gay? Let's find out.
I'll get to that. The thing I want to say.
That's yes. That's yes.
But there's an important distinction here, and I get often frustrated with this discourse of lumping the Islamic tradition in with the Christian tradition, particularly the Catholic tradition, because they're structurally so fundamentally different. The Catholic tradition has a church which has a kind of divine imprimatur and authority. The Islamic tradition is a far more anarchic tradition in a sense. There is no centralized authority, especially in the Sunni tradition. So to say the Islamic teaching on anything is X is a position that immediately becomes contestable. You can try to verify it statistically or otherwise, but the point is that.
Oh, really? Really, Walid? You can't answer the question, right? We can't question Islam because they're kind of amorphous. They're kind of, get the fuck out of here. You fucking flog.
At the very least in theory, if not in practice.
Oh, I hit my... here we go.
Any position that you take is a position that you take that may or may not, that may be fallible and is open to being contested by other Islamic theologians or other Muslims and so on. So on any question, whether it be homosexuality or it be anything, you will find a position that the majority take. And on the question of homosexuality, undoubtedly, if you took a poll in the Muslim world, you would find.
Yep. Yep. He's gay. He's a gay Muslim. Who would have thunk it?
And that most people would consider it sinful behaviour. But if you took...
Dodging it. It's not what Muslims
Correct.
think, it's what Islam teaches.
Yeah, but my question is, what exactly is your repository of a list of Islamic conclusions? There is no book called Islamic law. There is no Islamic body that says...
There is this one thing called the Quran and the Hadith. What the fuck is this cunt talking about? Jesus Christ, God help me. God... he's saying when it comes to Islam, there's no book, there's no the fuck.
this is what Islam teaches. It has for 1400
Yeah, there's no book that says this is what Islam teaches. Okay. Okay, Walid.
years been an ongoing conversation. So, and what
Ongoing conversations are very good.
Yeah, but that's my point. If there is a criticism I would make of the Muslim world, it is this. It is that, particularly in the post-colonial era, as religion has become an identity movement rather than something that's actually anything to do with...
Shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. That's what they do. Oh, it becomes an identity movement. Yes, for you, but not for me. Oh, my God.
spirituality and faith, in my view. Particularly in the post-colonial world.
Really?
That religiosity, Islam has become instrumentalized as a list of conclusions, as a political ideology, as though there is some manifesto you can just download from a computer and install into a society. It doesn't work that way, certainly not in the classical tradition. The classical tradition was one of constant debate. That's why it was very difficult to get something like an Inquisition going. We managed it at some point, but it was not terribly successful, and it ultimately crumbled because you can't ultimately centralize authority to make definitive statements on behalf of God in the Islamic tradition. That's an act of polytheism to do that.
All
in the
right,
Islamic
I'm just going to interrupt the flow for a minute because we have another question tonight. It comes from Hayley Crichton.
Yes, my question is for Christopher Hitchens. With many voters using a politician's religious persuasion to influence their vote, do you expect to see in your lifetime an openly atheist politician be appointed to the head of government, for example, for Australia, Britain, or the United States?
I'm not going to let Christopher answer this immediately. I'd rather throw it around the panel first. Frank Brennan.
I think undoubtedly. I mean, perhaps not so readily.
Why would he... direct question to Christopher Hitchens. And he goes, no, I'm going to... Why? Why?
In the United States, or if in the United States the presidential candidate were atheist, he or she would probably still proclaim some religious conviction in that that's part of the United States. But I think here in Australia, whether or not one of our political leaders, I would think, was an atheist or of a religious persuasion, I think is almost an irrelevance to the Australian community.
Okay, let's hear from Anne Henderson on that. I mean, I can't think of any atheist prime ministers, Australian prime ministers to date. You might know. Certainly not openly
did
atheist.
Gough openly proclaim he was a believer? But anyway, it's
Not
not
Bob
so
Hawke.
much.
Listen, girl, shut the fuck up.
Just say.
Shut the actual fuck up. No one cares. I'll play it. I'll play it.
It's not so much whether you're an atheist or an agnostic or a believer, it's what you say to the people you are. I find it interesting at the moment, and I wouldn't have thought it would have happened in the 1980s, that all leaders of countries in the West seem to want to go to church every Sunday. Christian churches. It was interesting that Tony Blair wouldn't take on being a Catholic. I think is he considering it now?
He's done it.
He became a Catholic now after he left his position as Prime Minister. The problem with democratic politics is, and spin and 24-hour news and whatever, the person who inevitably comes to lead the country, and I think that questioner had it right, is going to have to reflect the strength of belief in the country itself. So if you went around like Christopher, bagging all the churches and anyone who believed, I think it'll be a long time before that happens, and I would be very surprised if it ever did happen. You could be an atheist, but I don't think you'd go around telling everyone that you thought everyone that was a believer was an idiot.
Sally Warhart.
I think I think there's just no way the United
Scant
States...
applause for a cheap point. It's encouraging.
I think that there is no way the United States would elect a president who was not a practicing Christian of some sort. In my lifetime, I just cannot see it. I mean, interestingly, they were ready to elect a woman, and I think they would have if there hadn't have been an Obama there, but there's just no way. In fact, I think that's probably going backwards in American culture at the moment. Australia, I don't think people could care less.
Christopher.
Well, my only point would be, I'll make a quick point.
Okay, so she said, nothing. She said nothing. Okay. Let's go with Christopher Hitchens, see what he says.
about the United States. It's a good thing that atheists are not banned from holding the office, because we would have missed Mr. Lincoln, for example. And in my opinion, Mr. Jefferson and one or two other people probably worth having. But as late as in England, the life of James Stuart Mill, in America, the life of Benjamin Franklin, there were quite well-known, publicly secure, confident, professional thinkers who didn't think it was advisable to let people know what they thought in public, because that's how dangerous it could be in a pious regime. And it seems that, and all people of faith can apparently congratulate themselves upon it, that the faith still demands professions of faith by people who don't hold it, that are by definition hypocritical. So congratulations to religious opinion for bringing that beautiful thing about in what's supposed to be a secular democracy.
Okay, no doubt we're going to come back to religious questions shortly, but you're watching Q&A, the unpredictable program where you get to ask the questions. If you'd like to ask a question in person, go to our website, register to join the studio audience. We'll change subjects now for a while. Next question comes from William McKenzie.
Is great talent an excuse for paedophilia? What are the panel's opinions on the Roman Polanski situation in Switzerland and America at the moment?
Waleed.
Can someone explain to me why? I actually don't understand the argument that he shouldn't be brought before a court. I just don't understand it. I'm happy for someone to convince me.
Well, there's an argument in France. He's very talented, so he shouldn't therefore face trial.
No, but have you caught up with the news? It's all changed. It's changed today, which was interesting. The French have backed off. Hillary Clinton has said it's a legal matter. The Polish leader, I think, has backed off, even though he's married to someone who's supporting Polanski. And a Hollywood serious communicator has a blog or something where the anti-Polanski responses are running 100-1, and the New York Times has come out and argued against him, which is an interesting phenomenon. So maybe it's changing.
Can I say
I don't know why it would be interesting. I mean, I just can't believe they wouldn't argue that he should be tried. I was reading his autobiography last night, and Polanski's account of, making love to this young woman on Jack Nicholson's couch. It was just So
why has it taken so long? That's the reason.
That's where the talent comes in. Rem arcu tetigisti, they say. You touch the point with a...
All right, fuck this shit. Fuck this shit. I don't care. No, fuck it. Enough. Don't care about this shit. Don't care about Roman fucking Polanski. I know who he is. Fucking movie producer, black and white Japanese films. I know. Not going to hang around here talking about fucking Roman Polanski. Get the fuck out of here, okay? Waleed is a fucking David Healy. What are you fucking showing me? I'll look it up. Okay, I'll look it up over here. What are you fucking showing me, bro? You sending me a link? Is that Black Books? Is that Black Books? I just I'll do it. I'll do it. Oh, Father Ted. He also got cancer. Also got cancelled. Right. Also got fucking cancelled.
Dougal, look.
I am Chinese, if you please. Come on, Dougal, lighten up.
Who? Dougal, there were Chinese people there.
All right, yeah.
I mean, what is? I mean,
That's the Inn family. They're living over there in that old Chinatown area.
Chinatown there. There's a Chinatown on Craggy Island. Dougal, I wouldn't have done a Chinaman impression if I'd known there was going to be a Chinaman there to see me doing a Chinaman impression.
Why not, Ted?
Because it's racist. They'll think I'm a racist. I'm going to have to catch up with them and explain I'm not a racist.
Hello there, Father.
Hello, Colin. Out and about?
I am. Same as yourself.
Good, good.
I hear you're a racist now, Father.
What?
How did you get interested in that type of thing?
Who said I'm a racist?
Everyone's saying it, Father. Should we all be racist now? What's the official line the church is taking on this?
No.
Only the farm takes up most of the day, and at night I just like a cup of tea. I might be able to devote myself full time to the old racism.
Good for you, Father.
What? Oh, Mrs. Carberry.
Good for you, Father. Well, someone had the guts to stand up to them at last. Coming over here, taking our jobs and our women, and acting like they own a second place. Well done, Father. Good for you. Good for you. I'd like a second. Second Greeks.
It isn't the Greeks, it's the Chinese he's after. I'm not after the Chinese.
I don't care who we get so long as I can have a go at the Greeks. They invented gayness.
Look, we're not having a go at anybody. I am not a racist, all right? God.
Second Greeks.
How's Mary?
She's fine. She got that job after.
Great.
Go on.
No, seriously,
Go on.
David, you asshole. Fuck. You make me play this shit. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Fuck me. These guys.
DJ shout, wheel it up, something strange on the island today. Oh, yeah. Hey. Sun blazing bright by the coconut stand, steel drums echo through the reggae band. David Tilly strolling proud as a king of the beach. Say everybody come down, I got news to preach. Crowd leaning like what you gonna say. He grin real wide in a mysterious way. Meet my wife, he shout with a grin so grand. Out walks the legend Macamil holding his hand. Oh, reggae horn start blasting the jam. Healy got a wife named Marcamil. People spill their drinks in the sun. The Luke Skywalker joined the wedding band. Mark wave slow with a Jedi pose. Coconut drink and flip-flops on his toes. Somebody shout, use the force, man. Mark said, nah, I'm just here for the wedding man. Suddenly thunder roll across the shore. Footsteps sound like a dinosaur. The waves get quiet, parrots stop singing. In walks the roundhouse king of the ring. The one, the only Chuck Norris. Well, oh, yeah. Chuck squint out at the scene so bizarre. Look at Teely, then the Jedi star. He rub his beard, shake his head slow. Oh, you got explaining to do, you know. Chuck shout loud so the whole beach hear. Healy, your wife got a lightsaber, dear. Crowd fall down laughing in the sand. Weirdest marriage in reggae land. Mark spin around with a dramatic slam. Relax,
Excuse me.
just Mark Hamill. Healy shrug like it's perfectly normal. But keep playing something tropical. Reggae blasting, moon in the sky. Chuck still wondering how and why, but he finally laugh and raise his glass. Alright, Teely, the silence glass. Steel drums ring and the
Na 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 na. No, Charles, my dogs are always upset. They're always upset. Always. And my cats. My dogs, my cats, and also my axolotls are also fucking upset. Right? That's life. That's life with pets. Life with pets. Not gonna lie. And Charles, look, I've said it every single time. My wheelhouse is sexism. I'm trying to learn how to be racist. Okay, I'll agree. I'm sexist, but trying to learn how to be racist. So, thanks for the support. Good question. Good question. Oh my God. Can you hear the dogs? Can you hear them? Okay. Short grift. We have can I fucking do it? I'm gonna do it. Numbers. Okay. We have 7 watching, and we have 2 likes. That's gay. What's wrong with you? Right? 7 watching, 2 likes. That's awful. Also, 180 subscribers. We're going for 200. Okay, need 20 more people to sub. Just sub. Turn off notifications. That's good. All right. Fucking Emmett is still doing his thing. Emmett's still doing his fucking. Oh my God, it's so bad. No, I can't. No, I can't. It's terrible. Can't do it. Oh, this could work. Okay. This could work.
Why do you care so much? Well, this is child abuse. Do you know any trans children? Do you talk to minors? First of all, I would say there's no such thing as a trans child, but I talk to whoever comes up to me. I've been doing this over 5 years.
All right,
I've had tens of thousands of these conversations. I know many people who were trans identified and now say they are not. I've spoken with hundreds of trans identified people who come up to me, and we should not be sterilizing children. We should not be cutting the body parts off of children. We should not be teaching children that just because they're a little different, that just because they perhaps don't conform to what I'm sure you would agree are regressive and sexist stereotypes, we shouldn't be telling them that just because they don't conform, that they are some alternate class of being, that they were born in the wrong body and they need to change their body to be comfortable.
All right. Well, I mean, you know, me personally, knowing, you know, these people that, you know, are these trans children that you speak of, like, no one's cutting off their genitalia for it. You know what I mean? Like this misconception that, like, oh, these children, they're you know doing X, Y, and Z to their body. It's not happening. These cases are more so for people that are like adults, consenting adults. You know what I mean? Like, I can understand that children can't consent, but they're not doing that shit, right?
So in California, they're cutting off the breasts of girls as young as 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And they've cut off the genitals and done penile inversion surgeries on boys as young as 16, having started the process at 15, which probably refers to hair removal. And when I say that, I'm quoting a woman named Kellen Lackhart, who works at the Kaiser Permanente in Oakland, California. She admits to that all on video. So they're absolutely doing this to kids. That's just the physical harm, never mind the psychological harm. What does it mean? You tell me, what does it mean for a child to be transgender?
It's just who they want to be. I mean, going back to what my commercial came, why the fuck?
Wait. Let's slow it down. First of all, I appreciate your passion.
Yeah,
and I appreciate that you want what's best for kids, okay? I think we can both probably stand here and say we both want what's best for kids.
Yeah.
So I asked you, what is a transgender child? You said it's just helping them to be who they are. What does that mean? Let's break that down.
Well, it's whoever they want to be. I think, why does it matter so much that a child, let's say, you know, someone that's like 16, 17, right? Is like, hey, you know, I don't feel comfortable being in the body that I was born in. I feel more like I'm this. Why does it matter to you? I don't see it as
they're
harm.
Not born in the wrong body. It's a lie. Yeah. And it's causing, first of all, it's causing psychological harm, it's causing physical harm, but we haven't even talked about who these kids are yet, who show up at these gender clinics. So if you read the systematic reviews of all the scientific literature, so in medicine, what we refer to as the gold standard when it comes to studies are what we call systematic reviews, where they look at all the peer-reviewed research, they look at all the scientific literature. And this has been done now in Sweden, it's been done in England, it's been done in the US, and under so-called progressive governments, and actually done by the pediatric bodies in Sweden and in the UK. They found there's no evidence to support transitioning kids. The quality of evidence was either non-existent or extremely low. And of course, there are grave harms being done to kids. So if we're going to be harming children for this ideology that teaches they were born in the wrong body, we should at least be able to define these terms. And right now, I can't even get a definition of what it means to be transgender.
It means that you're making the transition from one to another. I mean, it's in the term itself, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so transition is something you do.
Exactly.
It's body modification, but that's not something you are. This is all based on an identity. And I forgot what I was just about to say a minute ago. The kids who show up at these gender clinics overwhelmingly have other mental health problems known as comorbidities. They have, in a majority of these cases, they're on the autism spectrum.
All right.
Many of them, a majority, per all the data that we can look at, have suffered sexual abuse. In more than 50% of the cases in the UK, one of their parents wasn't in the picture. So they're struggling with all these other issues. And then transgenderism comes along and it says, well, little girl, little boy, the reason you're so upset isn't all these other things. It's because you were born in the wrong body. What a negative thing to tell a child that they were born wrong.
Who the hell is saying that? Who is going
all
up
of the
to
trans activists are saying it.
That's not what they're doing. They're
It's
not saying like,
literally what
hey, you have mental illness, you should like, you know, be different than. They're saying that if it's just like way you feel. Going back to what you're saying, you mentioned
being a boy or a girl
hold on
isn't a
second.
feeling.
But listen. You said that identity doesn't base who you are. But I think that identity is very crucial to a person. It's how they're able to, you know, keep on going and shit. Like people that.
Okay, so I asked you
hold
what
on. No,
I
let
asked
me-
you
let
what
me
being
finish.
transgender
No,
is,
let
and
me
you said
finish.
it's someone who
Let me-
transitioned.
hold on.
But that's a verb. That's still not a definition. So
Can
let's
I-
keep
yeah.
getting back to the root cause here. What is transgender?
All right. Listen. Because I know you're trying to do this whole like Charlie Kirk thing, but listen, right?
I'm actually
trying
a separate human being. Charlie Kirk's a great guy. What I'm trying to do is have a conversation. And what I'm trying to do is get terms defined. Because if we're going to tell
Terms
children that
defined.
they are transgender, we should at least be able to define what that means. And
Yes.
so far, In 5 years, nobody can do it.
It's the act of being
That's a
born.
verb. That's not the noun. What is a transgender child?
Someone that's transgender? What are you trying to get here?
Right. So we can't define it without circular definitions.
So then why does it matter then?
Because children are coming to lifelong physical harm.
Which
They're being
children?
sterilized.
No,
they're never
there's
able
no
to have a
sterilization that's happening. This is the fear mongering.
What do you think these puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones do? You should go read the consent forms that they sign at these children's hospitals. You should go look at what some of these trans health professionals say. They fully admit to it on video that they're sterilizing kids. You can go look at the videos in the WPATH files. So WPATH is the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. Many of their own videos and emails were released last year as part of a leak. They all admit to this. This is on their consent forms. Come on in.
Quick question. You earlier
Let's face the camera a little bit. Come on this way a little.
You said children aren't consenting to these things. Would you agree if children are consenting and children are, say, 12, 13, 14 years old, that they are receiving puberty blockers and they are modifying their bodies by doctor's consent? Because you were saying nobody's doing that. Would you agree that if sub 18-year-olds are doing that, that something's morally wrong in that situation?
All right, I didn't know this was going to be a 2v1. But listen.
I'm off on the side. I didn't show up with him. I'm off on the side.
Honestly, this is just about truth. It doesn't matter how many people.
I think that we can agree. Children don't necessarily consent, right? But I think I think that they can like start to form an identity. And the people that I know that have like these backgrounds, they're not getting these surgeries done. They live in California. Like this is not like they're not getting these stuff done. If they do get it done, it's probably when they're adult, when they're consenting.
My man, I was here a year ago, last October, 13 months ago. I spoke to Clementine. She goes to this university. You should go Google Billboard Chris and Clementine right after this. She told me the story right up the pathway here. Actually, just down there. When she was 12, on her first appointment at the Children's Hospital, she was given puberty blockers. At 13, she was given testosterone. At 14, she was given a double mastectomy.
When you say given, what do you mean?
She was put on testosterone.
Yeah, Clementine. Yeah, saying that. A double mastectomy at 14. Think about that. What the actual fuck?
Like at 13, she had a double mastectomy. Her breasts were cut off at 14 years old. She goes to this school. The testosterone caused psychosis. She went off it at 17. The doctor then wanted her to get a hysterectomy, where they cut out your womb. She'd had enough. She officially detransitioned at 19, but she's never going to be able to have kids. This all started when she was 12. And why? Because when she was 7, she'd suffered sexual abuse. And that made her, unsurprisingly, not look forward to growing into a woman. Because for her, being female is the source of all the great pain and trauma in her life. And what did the school counselor at 12 tell her? Well, because you don't want to be female, you must be a boy. And so they started socially transitioning her with a new name and pronouns. The school counselor told her parents they had a trans boy. The parents, not knowing what to do, did what most parents do. They go to see the experts, quote unquote, at the Children's Hospital, who in 1.5-hour appointment put her on puberty blockers and then the next year put her on testosterone. And now she's sterilized for life. Do you think we should be sterilizing struggling kids?
I don't think we should be like sterilizing them, but what you're saying, like you're making it seem like this thing, like, oh, big pharma's out here sterilizing the children. That's not necessarily the case. More people regret getting tattoos than getting the transsexual surgeries. And not even that, like even if you're making these cases of certain people like regretting their choices, that doesn't mean that we should, this is all thing. There's real people out there that really just don't feel comfortable in their bodies. And like when they go 18, like I think that,
it's normal for a teenager, especially a teenage girl. It's normal for them not to feel comfortable in their bodies. That's called puberty. That's called growing up. But we don't give kids drugs, hormones, and surgeries because they're uncomfortable with their body. Why? Because they're kids.
Right, but these few cases don't make up every single child that has felt like trying to transition.
It's tens of thousands. And if you look at the academic reports before they started drugging kids, before they started giving them surgeries, kids who had gender dysphoria back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, more than 80% of them grew out of it when they went through puberty. The cure for their gender dysphoria, for their distress, was puberty itself. Now we block the cure.
What the fuck? All right, listen. But I think that it's just because of these hold on.
So the cure for gender dysphoria is puberty. Who'd have thunk it? Okay. Fucking base.
I feel like the way that this is all being interpreted is that because of these procedures that are being quote unquote pushed onto the children, which I really don't think that there's like these people, these counselors, and be like, hey, you're not happy if you're like become trans. Like it's
because that would be wrong, right?
No, it's just not what they're doing.
Oh, okay.
Would it be wrong if that's what they're
Hold
doing?
on, no. I'm talking to this.
Would it be wrong if that's what they were doing?
Hold on one second. Let me talk to this guy first. But what's it called?
Would it be wrong if that's what they were doing?
I mean, like, I think it's just everybody's choice. I mean, like
So you're trying to ride the fence here.
I'm
You're
not
saying
trying to
it's
ride
not
the-
happening because you know that would be wrong.
But you're saying
But
hypothetically.
then when
if
I
this is
ask you, would it be wrong?
If it's
you don't
hypothetically,
even want to admit it.
I think that it's wrong.
It's what happened to Clementine
I don't think
wrong.
it's wrong. I don't think it's wrong to. I think it's shit. Hold on. I think it's wrong to force somebody to do anything, to like, join a certain religion, to do this thing. Like I think it's wrong to force something onto somebody. I think you should always be the person that comes up with the choice at the end of the day. But I feel like these aren't like they're not being forced. They're not being pressured into these.
Yes, they are.
They're not being pressured.
So when
These-
Clementine went to her first appointment at CHLA, the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, she was separated from her parents. And in that first interview with the parents, they were told they could have a dead daughter or a live son. Are you telling me they don't feel pressure right there?
All right. So there's probably So look, there's just one shady person that did that, right?
It's not one shady person.
But
They all
do you think
follow this same script. They all follow the WPATH standards of care. WPATH is an activist organization, not a medical body, but we have an activist organization pushing ideology into medicine and using pressure tactics. And you have these ideological doctors who go along with this, and they don't question things. In fact, to even question these children, they say is to invalidate their gender identity. The only standard they practice these days is what's called affirmation only, where they simply affirm this little 10-year-old girl as being a boy. They say, wonderful, we're so glad you found your true self. They don't ask about all these other things going on. Watch the interview I had with Clementine. I asked her, did the doctors and the therapists that you saw ever ask you about the sexual abuse you'd suffered when you were 7? And the answer is no. They didn't care. They simply fast-tracked her onto this medical treadmill of puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgeries. And now she's just a young woman still in university and she can never have kids. Why was she distressed? She wasn't trans. She'd been sexually abused, as more than half of these kids have been.
Do you think that's happening to all trans people? Because I feel like these are like case-by-case situations.
All people struggling with trans identification have something else going on. They don't end up at a gender clinic unless they've got some problems going on in their life.
I really don't think that's the case. I don't think
I would encourage you to do a little
I don't think
research.
every single transsexual person that's changed their gender is like just doing that because they're suffering something else, and that's like a coping mechanism. To devaluate that to just a coping mechanism, like, oh, I'm going through X, Y, and Z, that's why I'm doing this. I feel like it really like devaluates like that person and who they are. And I think that
Well, what they are is a girl or a boy. They're not the opposite
No,
sex.
I'm not finished. I think that we should like just let people kind of like live their lives. And I know that, there's these like, these people, these
So we should let kids sterilize themselves?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that
So what does that mean? Let them live their lives?
I'm saying
Let them
that
go on puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones?
this motherfucker, bro.
No,
Listen,
is that what you want?
I'm not necessarily saying that.
So what
that
are you saying
this is
then?
not the end all be it, because there's multiple ways. Like you don't have to do any of that shit, and still you could still be a trans girl or a trans boy, and you don't have to do any of that shit. You don't have to go through the puberty blockers and whatnot.
But they're told they have to do that, or else they'll be distressed forever because then they won't pass as well as the opposite sex.
Well, just because
they're told if they don't go on puberty blockers, these boys are going to develop into men, and then they're not going to be able to pass as a woman when they're adults. So therefore, their reasoning, if I were to steel man their argument, is they must go on puberty blockers at Tanner stage 2, the beginning of puberty. Otherwise, they're going to start to masculinize, and that would be too traumatic. That's the reasoning behind this. So what you're saying to these trans activists would actually be transphobia.
What the fuck? What are you? Whoa! What the fuck? Hold on.
I would encourage you to watch this video back. You'll pick up more the next time you watch it.
All right, you know what? But listen, my thing is that I think that all people should just do what they feel is right for them. Right now, I'm not necessarily saying.
Do children know what's right for them?
I think that like if you're like like on the younger age, like maybe you're still developing, but I feel like this idea that every all these people like what's it called? Like not everybody that's going through the experience of being transsexual is like going through this path. And I think that to kind of like reduce everything to just, oh yeah, like they're just constantly being fed like these, every single trans person is being, it really like just diminishes like every, like just kind of like, what's it called? Like when you like take like these group of people that have been, you know, affected by these like people that are like forcing them, right? And you're like using that to explain everybody, and everybody's background is like that. I feel like that's a very like, that's a wrong way to look at it.
I'm simply telling you what the systematic reviews showed.
And I'm saying
the
that
gold standard in medicine.
Yeah, but I'm saying
you should read the reports. The CAS review from England is 380 pages long. You should have a look through that, or you just skim the summary even.
But I'm saying
go read the WPATH files. You can just read the summary of that too, and you'll find that yes, in fact, these children who are having so many struggles in life that they end up at gender clinics, yes, they always have something else going on.
But like,
and does that diminish them as a human being? No, we should be treating them for the other problems that they have. We shouldn't be ignoring their other problems, which is what is happening, and telling them this lie that they were born in the wrong body, and the only way they're going to feel better is by going on puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgeries.
Right. But what do you think about like transsexual adults that maybe were like had that in their youth, but then fully like came out once they're an adult? What do you think about that?
So there are two different conversations here. And within the trans umbrella, there are different types of trans. These middle-aged men who say they are transgender really have what's called a paraphilia. It's a paraphilia or a sexual perversion called autogynephilia, which breaks down to the three root words autogyno and philia, meaning self-love as a woman. And for them, this is just a perversion. It's totally different than what's going on with these kids. And so a man who gets off on going into women's spaces, is he trans? No, he's really not. That's just a label that they have adopted because it gives them a free pass into women's spaces. Now, if some middle-aged dude wants to do something with his body, go ahead. But I don't think doctors should ever be doing it, because doctors swore an oath to first do no harm. And you're not helping people by cutting off body parts.
All right. I think that this idea that like that trans women are doing it just going to men's restrooms is such a weird way of looking at it. Like this idea that like thinking that all like I feel like the idea of considering like being transgender as like a mental illness is such a weird way to look at it.
Nobody's transgender. It's a meaningless term. You can't even define it. So if we can't define it, how does that term have any meaning?
It's because being transgender is an action. Being a transgender person is because they're doing the action.
Yeah, body modification is an action.
That's
it doesn't change whether they're a man or a woman.
Yeah, but it's the transitioning that makes them the man or the woman. It's just what they want to do. I don't understand.
It doesn't change their sex or their gender, a word I don't like. I say there are two sexes, zero genders, and infinite personalities, because that just sums us all up. And if someone's quirky or a bit different, we should just say, hey, that's fine. You're not actually the opposite sex, and you don't need a pharmaceutical company to help you be who you really are. Whether you believe in God or evolution, this whole ideology makes no sense. If you believe in God,
no, I don't believe in God in the Christian
sense. God made us wrong, and if you believe in evolution, well, then somehow a billion years of natural selection has failed, and we now need a pharmaceutical company to help our kids be their true selves. Totally and utterly insane.
Well, the true self just comes from who you are. It doesn't necessarily
and who they are is boys or girls. And if a girl is a tomboy, she likes climbing trees and playing in the dirt, and she likes boy activities, that doesn't make her a boy.
Right.
But that's what these trans health professionals are saying.
Those two things are not like connected though.
So I could show you videos from Boston Children's Hospital's gender clinic, the #1 ranked pediatric hospital in the country, where the doctor who runs their gender multi-specialty clinic, the first clinic that opened in North America, back in 2007, I believe it was, they say things like playing with opposite gender toys. A girl trying to pee standing up, a boy trying to pee sitting down, trying on a sibling's clothing. These are all signs your child is transgender and can be treated.
What the fuck?
That's literally what they say, verbatim. And your reaction is perfect. WTF, indeed. If you want to play with Barbies as a little boy, you're not transgender.
I agree with that aspect, but it's because, these like, it's because, fuck, hold on.
Do toys determine your gender?
No, because
They're
that's
just
just
toys.
yeah. No, I understand that part, but
Yet that's what the trans health professionals say is an indicator that your child is trans.
right. I see what you're saying, but I feel like we shouldn't just like take. I feel like you're really looking at the pharmaceutical aspect, but I feel like that's such like one aspect of what being like I'm a cisgender person, right? So I think that I can't necessarily speak like accurately as for a transgender
You're just
person.
a man.
Yeah, I identify as a man. I'm a man.
You don't
feel me?
identify as a man.
I
You're just a man.
Whatever, right?
This
But like,
whole ideology is a lot, and I know that's a lot to take in. This entire ideology, everything you've ever been told about it, is based on nothing but lies. We don't have gender identities. You're not cisgender or transgender. You're just a man or a woman, a boy or a girl. And I know that's a lot to accept when you've heard all these lies and you hear it from all these authority figures here at this beautiful university. But that's the fact of the matter. Gender identity is something that was made up in the 60s.
well, I mean, like, it's just like it's just a part of like I would say like being a man. Like, would you say that people have like identities? I know you said like just infinite identities or whatever you said.
Infinite personalities.
Infinite personalities. Would you say that personality is connected to someone's identity?
I guess it depends what you're defining identity as.
Just like who they are.
It's not related to your sex. I could identify as a Vancouver Canucks fan, which is unfortunate because they've never won a Stanley Cup. But, some people identify as hockey players. They identify as soccer players. They identify as university students. What you are is just you.
Yeah.
You're not the opposite sex. You're not the opposite gender. Do you have likes and dislikes? Yes. Do you have hobbies? Yes. These are all parts of your personality.
Mhm.
But if you look at the gender-bred person, which is the most used resource in the world, it defines what gender identity is right on there.
Mm-hmm.
And it says your gender identity is based on your personality, your job, hobbies, likes, dislikes, roles, and expectations.
Mhm.
So if someone is an engineer, do they identify as an engineer? Do they consider that to be part of their identity?
I mean,
sure.
Yeah.
But that should have nothing to do with your gender, yet that's what they're teaching, is that all your hobbies and likes and dislikes and your jobs tell us what your gender identity is. They're using regressive sexist stereotypes to define what your gender identity is. So the same people who don't like stereotypes say if a child doesn't conform to them, we should cut off their body parts.
I think that gender should be a part of the like. It's not saying that your personality like informs. I think it's the other way. I think that is a part of who you are on a whole. Like I think I think like all pieces of like what we are. I think I like create like what it is that like we do. You know what I mean? I think that
But gender identity is a lie. You don't get to choose your gender.
like what's it called? It's not the idea of choosing a gender. It's just feeling comfortable in like
It's exactly
who you
what
are.
it is.
But okay, but
You
like
can be an effeminate male. You're an effeminate male. You're not a girl.
I mean, but like if they're not identifying as the other gender, then yeah, like, that's true. But I think that if you like want to be,
But
if
this identify as, what does that mean? It means pretend to be.
no, you don't you identify as you're
I don't identify
like a speaker, right? You're just what the fuck. Anyways,
I'm not identifying as anything. I'm just a man here having a conversation. I don't walk around going, what do I identify as? With respect to gender ideology, when we say people identify as, all that.
All right, doing a little dirty grift. Apparently, there are 8 people watching, and there is 1 person in chat. That's gay. Okay. The only person in chat is Charles, which I expect because Charles is my Charles is my man. Okay. 8 people watching, and 1 person in chat. So, and also checking subs. Oh, hang on, got to fucking mute it. Checking subs. 180, you see, you dirty fuckers. Not even 1 more sub. Still sitting on 180. We're pushing through for the 200. We're going for 200 subs. So, and 2 likes, really? 2? 7 people watching, 1 person in chat, 2 likes. That's bad numbers. It's a bit gay. Okay. It's a bit gay, and just for that, we have to play the. We've got to play the song, right? We have to. Until you like and sub, but don't share. Like I said, like, sub, don't share.
Fake Australian down by the beach with my cowboy hat on and Bud Light in reach. They ask me if my gay, I say no way. While me wave the rainbow flag, only some days me dressing dry. I don't know why they wouldn't think I'm straight. I think the only thing we can say, why is Kieran gay? I think the only thing we can say, why is Kieran gay? I think the only thing we can say, why is Kieran gay? I think the only thing we can say, why is Kieran gay? Some come to feel that island beat. I just come to feel the guy they meet. Riding kangaroos bareback with dudes. If the emus come, we'll surely lose. Shrimp on the Barbie, 6 dicks is a party. Tin foil at his McFly at the Marty. I think the only thing we can say, why is Kieran gay? I think the only thing we can say, why is Kieran gay? I think the only thing we can say, why is Kieran gay? I think the only thing we can say, why is Kieran gay?
Okay, we still have 9 watching and 2 likes and 180 subscribers. So numbers didn't change. Numbers didn't change, okay? Which probably means everybody watching is already subscribed. Oh, now 8 watching. Fuck, some cunt fucked off. That's funny. Don't care. Don't care. Well, I do a little bit, but, you know, pretend I don't care. Nah, bro. You've got to go to bed soon. Got work tomorrow. Charles, you fucking asshole. Really? A dislike? I've never had one dislike. So you could be the first person. You could be the first person ever to give me a dislike. I'm gonna check. Nah, fuck you, dickhead. Fuck you.
Wording means is these are people pretending to be. And we don't play pretend in the adult world. And we certainly don't play pretend to such a degree that we start sterilizing children and cutting body parts off.
I think that there's this like I feel like this idea of thinking that like, oh, is this, I think playing pretend is very much like such a bad way to look at it, because it's like, I think
Truth.
no, it's because this is
If
like
the truth hurts people's feelings. Oh well, it's still the truth, and it's not kind to lie to people. And affirming a delusion, which is what we're doing with transgenderism, is lying to them. It is not nice to take a little boy who's more effeminate, who likes bacon with mom, who's perhaps more sensitive, who reads books, who doesn't like playing outside with the boys. It's not kind to tell him he's a girl, that he's transgender. None of these ideas ever enter a child's head on their own. It's always coming from some external source. And it's not kind to tell him that. We should be telling him that he's beautiful just as he is. No drugs or scalpels needed. Instead, they're telling him he's transgender, celebrating it, love bombing him with this false idea, and then putting this idea in his head that to fully manifest his transgenderism, he needs to get all these drugs. It's insane.
So what would you say if someone that lives in a very, let's say, conservative Christian house and that are very like very much against the idea of being transgender, right? And the kid goes out throughout, like, just lives his life, goes throughout his life, and becomes transgender, and like that's on his own term, his own will. He doesn't do any like he doesn't go any through the hormones and whatnot. He doesn't have this. Would you say that that's like could that happen? Is that real? Like, is that still like a thing? I don't know if I'm
the vast majority of kids historically, when not drugged, they grow out of this. It's a phase. The act of puberty, of their own hormones naturally coming, the act of growing up, their brain developing, they grow to be comfortable in their bodies. A lot of these kids,
fake news,
seems to affect mostly boys.
Fake news.
And so severe so-called gender dysphoria started at a young age, these really effeminate little boys. And more than 80% of them grew out of it, and majority grew up to be gay. So something we haven't even touched on in this conversation is this is harming the gay community. This is
How is it harming the gay community?
Because a lot of these kids would grow up to be gay, and instead they're being told they're trans, and their bodies are.
But
being
how does what is the connection with being transgender and being homosexual? Where is the connection? I know it's part, the
Okay,
LGBT.
let's slow
I know it's a
down.
part of the community.
So all the studies into gender dysphoria. So gender dysphoria is the traditional diagnosis that if a child has gender dysphoria, this is when they are then led to believe that they are trans.
Mhm.
Okay. But most of these kids grow out of it, and a majority grew up to be gay.
Mm-hmm.
If you talk to a lot of gay men today, they will tell you that if they were growing up in today's world, they would have been led to believe that they were trans.
Which gay people are you talking to?
I've
Like the idea of thinking that
you should come down to WeHo with me one day, West
I'm not
Hollywood,
going-
and we'll have some conversations there, and you can hear it from their own mouths.
Yo, bro, let's go to WeHo. Let's go to WeHo. Okay, but what's it called? I think this idea that like it's like having it one way or the other, I don't think that is necessarily true. I think that you could be you could be like, a transgender woman and be straight, you know what I mean? And you could be a gay man.
Yeah,
and
those
be a
men
gay
are
man.
what we call men with autogynephilia.
What? No. Like the
Yeah.
idea that like
Yeah.
I don't got. Anyways, this idea that like they're just so like interconnected. Like you like if you're not like if you're not like gay, then you're this, or if you are becoming gay, you're really this. Like it's they're two different identities that are connected because they're all within the queer aspects. You know what I mean? And I think that just saying that like it's only one, like it's like a misunderstanding of that.
Okay, kids, I've had enough retardation for one night. Okay, Charles, I'm going to go to bed. Thanks for backing me up. Love you, man. Chat. Retards. Total retards. Also viewers. Viewers and chat, both retards. It's enough internet for me. Yes, bro. Sometimes you just go, enough. I've had enough. Hey, Charles, I got you, bro. I got you. You're a good cunt. All right. Take care, people. You see Charles always coming through with the love. Where is the love? It's fucking Charles. Charles always brings the love. Hit the like button, you fuckers. Well, I'll check. Okay. We have 3 so far. I'll do one more little look. One more little look. Still 3. David, always good to see you. Oh, bro, it's almost Sunday. It's almost Monday. Okay. Okay, boys, stop it. You're being too nice. I don't approve, okay? on that note, as we leave, really kind of, yeah. Hey, fellas, have a great weekend. Have a great week. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to the people you love.
Yeah. People have you swiping all night. Charles Darwin's running a different experiment. Yeah, Charles Darwin rolling up late. Bus pass ready at the city gate. No sports car, no fancy ride. Just public transit and a confidence stride. Single guy with a master plan. Better odds than the average man. While everyone's swiping till their thumbs get sore. Darwin's knocking on a different door. No dating apps, no endless scrolling. No upper bios, people out trolling. He says, boys, let me break this down. There's a smarter way to get around. Darwin's got a sister strategy. Pure romantic science, actually. Why chase strangers endlessly when your friends got sisters conveniently? Skip the apps and skip the lies. No filter ticks, no weird surprises. Social circles, chemistry. That's Darwin's sister strategy. That's Darwin's sister strategy. Whatever's hot. If he didn't cook it, he likes it a lot. The pizza boxes stacked real tall. Takeout king, he loves it all. Friends say, bro, you need an app. Darwin laughs and tips his cap. Why compete with 10,000 dudes when my buddy sister already knows the crew? No algorithms telling lies. No odds behind those profile eyes. He's got the stats.
I like it. I like it.
Evolution set the methods true. Darwin's got a sister strategy. Field tested repeatedly. No swipes, no digital tragedy. Just old school probability. One good intro beats 1,000 chats. That's the math and that's the stats. Social science victory. Darwin's sister strategy.
All right. Good night, kids. To all you people who are watching and didn't like and sub, well, thanks for fucking nothing. Just crashing in on the free entertainment, like it's wrong. It's wrong, right? Still 3 likes, still 180. You see, fucking freeloaders. Good night, guys. Thanks for hanging around. I'll see you next time.